sometimes it really helps if you put the microwave on. Welcome to United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey. So while the people over there should come down and find their seats, uh, while we're giving them a little bit of time to wander down, find a comfy patch of ground to sit on, I do want to welcome everyone who is joining us not only here in Jenny Jump State Forest in Hope, New Jersey, but also online because we do live stream these to both Twitch and YouTube. So if you're ever l- haven't been able to get out here and looking for something to do on a Saturday around 8 p.m., that's a great place to hop into chat, say hi, ask questions, and I'll see you in chat as per my handy dandy mobile internet device. Um, in addition, a great source to check out is our website, uacnj.org. It's where you can find a list of all our upcoming talks, our past talks, and information about things like our member clubs. Because that's right, we're actually a club made up of other clubs. And one of the easiest ways to get into astronomy is to find your local organization because they're going to have not only easy access because it's nearest to you, but also tips and tricks for your local area of seeing, because they'll know that one park where you can get a great view of all the planets and the moon. And quite honestly, for the people in like New York City, your local clubs will be able to help you a lot more with viewing tips than I will out in Warren County, New Jersey. The light pollution level is a bit different. In addition, you'll be able to check us out on our social media pages, our Facebook, Instagram. We have a Discord server. All great places to either ask questions or show off your astrophotography or your newest piece of telescope equipment that you got. I know a few people went to the Northeast Astronomy Forum last weekend and bought new gear. So I've been impatiently waiting for pictures of that new gear. All right, so it looks like most of us have filed down. So I'm just going to give it a little bit more because I see someone running. Oh, they stopped running as soon as I said that. They're like, nope, no longer run. Anyhow, so when they get down here at the end, I'll go over the safety briefing for everyone here. Again, because it is inescapable. So, if you guys need to use the restroom, that is the porta potty in back. It is big, it is blue, it is illuminated by a red light for ease of finding in the dark. Because this is a state park and it will, in fact, get dark. Speaking of that, any flashlights or cell phone lights that we might be using to wander around as it gets dark, I do ask you keep those lights pointed towards the ground, as we do not want to blind anyone accidentally. We would also prefer we not blind people on purposefully. But that's an entirely different story. In addition, for all the adults who drove, please use your headlights. We're not out here to play games of Frogger, and quite frankly, none of us need those medical bills. I've been run over once. 0 out of 10 would not suggest doing that. In addition, we're going to have, I believe we have a couple telescopes open. We'll see how the weather treats us and how the cloud cover treats us, because unfortunately astronomy is in fact a very weather-based hobby. And if it's, like I said, if there are clear holes, we will try and do our best to show you objects through our telescopes. We have volunteers. Feel free to ask them questions, pester them about how far Saturn is away from us. That is an answer I definitely don't know, and they'll, depending on who you get, they might just make it up. So I always suggest the internet's your friend. We have good educational sources like NASA to also double check things like that. We also have a little museum and gift shop area. Feel free to check that out. We have a display of meteorites and some fun little tchotchkes because, yes, astronomy can be serious, but it can also be fun. With that, you're not here to listen to me ramble on, stalling for time for people to find their seats. You're actually here for tonight's speaker, Ken Taylor, on Astronomy for Beginners. Ken has nearly a decade of experience as an amateur astronomer and astrophotographer. His astronomy photographs have been featured in editions of our UACNJ calendar, and he is also a member of Northwest Jersey Amateur Astronomers in Blairstown, which is like 10-15 minutes from here, max. And that's driving slow. He enjoys having fun while entertaining all who want to know a little bit about astronomy. And with that, here's Ken.
Hi, everybody. Hold on a second. Hi, everybody online, too. Either way, hey, hopefully, who saw Saturn or Jupiter just now? Oh my gosh. We were able to see Jupiter here at UACNJ with one of our better telescopes. It is cloud covered right now, and probably only thing we're going to see. We'll find out later on. I am a member of UACNJ. To be honest with you, just like a lot of you in our audience, maybe you online, might be interested in UACNJ or your local club. I learned everything I know about astronomy here at UACNJ and at my local club. So it is a great idea for you to actually come out and find yourself a club, as already mentioned by Miss Kim. So to begin, this is Astronomy for Beginners. We do have a lot of telescopes. We have 7 telescopes permanently set up here. So on a really good night, you'll have all kinds of various views through our telescopes, helping you narrow down exactly maybe a telescope you might be considering. As a young boy, I always looked up in the sky and always wondered, in there, what's out there? What I see in astronomy magazines, is it real? Is it fake? Be aware that you are looking through telescopes or with a pair of binoculars, that you're getting an instant view of an item. When you start seeing these wonderful views of, we'll say, Andromeda, the galaxy, those are long-time exposures. So please be aware of that. So don't be disappointed. Planets, we're golden. As far as my understanding here today, the few 25 people that we have who have seen Jupiter basically has saw 3 moons, guys. Yeah, 3 moons. So they were able to see 3 moons with Jupiter. End results are, it's a lot of fun. When, of course, you keep an open mind. Again, I can point out something in the sky, describe it, but you won't be able to see it because of it being so faint. And again, long exposure is the only way you're going to get those nice pictures and views. Please be aware that if you look at the sun with an unproperly equipped telescope, binoculars, or anything, congratulations, you're looking at the sun for maybe a half a second. End results are you'll be blind for the rest of your life. Do not do that. Here at UACNJ, we do have scopes that are properly equipped for viewing the sun, and you can have some nice views. So it has to have a special filter on it. You may be interested in the planets, okay? Yes, we can see Venus, we can see Mars, we can see a whole bunch of different planets with our telescopes. So with that, let's take a look at some of them. Maybe we'll go one step further. Any idea how many years, days, does it take Earth to go around the moon or go around the sun one time? Please. 365 days. Absolutely. Do you have any idea maybe how long it takes the rest of our planets go around? Let's think of it this way. How about, and I got to cheat. No questions right now. Hold off on your questions. Let's say Venus. How long does it take Venus to go around the sun one time? Please. loud because I'm hard of hearing. Well, you're pretty darn close. How about 224.7 days? I will prove it to you because I got a nice handout here for you. Anyone want to guess? And again, I am an astronomer. I am older. Look at my hair. Uh, how long it takes Pluto, as far as we're concerned, our ninth planet. How long it takes to go around the sun one time? Real loud. I'm sorry, what was that? 400, 500 years. Anyone else? Well, to be honest with you, it takes Jupiter to go around the sun one time 248 years. One time. Further out, it's slow. Now, Pluto was discovered in the 1930s, I believe. Okay? It was declassified in 2007, something like that. End results are it hasn't even made it around the sun one time. It became a planet and they demoted it to a dwarf planet. I have all this information on a nice pictorial. I only have about 25 of them, so use them sparingly and then just pass it on back. You want one of these? Pass it on back. All right, so we're going through looking at our planets. This is exactly what you're going to see on that piece of paper that's being passed around. It'll give you all your information right here on the bottom of how many years it takes. It starts to get a little bit weird. Well, this is not the moon. That's Mercury. Look at all the craters on Mercury. It has craters also. How about Venus right here? We don't see any surface on there. Why? Because there's an atmosphere. End results are is we can't see through that atmosphere to actually look to see if there's Venusians running around like this, whatever the case might be. Obviously, this is the moon, but we have no pictures of Earth. How come? Because everybody here, you want to see Earth? Look down. We're standing on it. I can't take a picture of Earth unless you just take your mobile phone or your little device and take a picture of a piece of dirt. Mars is our next planet. Look up here. Look down here. Those are the polar caps on Mars. It has polar caps just like we do. Then we have Jupiter. Look at that. Look at this picture. See this? What is that? Go ahead, real loud. It's one of the moons. No, it isn't. What you're looking at there is a shadow of one of the moons hitting the surface of Jupiter. You would have to come real close, but right about here in my picture, that's the moon, right here. And the sun, of course, that's the shadow of that moon on the surface of Jupiter. See, there's a lot of stuff to take into consideration. Then you have, of course, my favorite, who likes Saturn? Oh my God, I got like at least 15, 20 people with their hands up. It's wonderful. And again, be aware, and a lot of this stuff is, it's dated. I'm saying in this particular case, Jupiter has 92 moons. Well, thank you to the Webb telescope and the Hubble and various other space telescopes that we have. It has over 120 moons. And at the end, or go ahead, I'll let you talk because I'm talking about Jupiter right now. Go ahead, real loud. Is it possible? Not currently. We just made it to the moon again. So right now, we're still waiting to get better spaceships to go out to Jupiter. And if you were to sit there, you'd weigh about, oh, I think like 20 times more than what you weigh. You might get crunched. Again, Mars with the Jupiter. What is that on top of Jupiter? Anybody have an idea? Please, loud. That's correct. It's the aurora borealis of Jupiter around its north pole. It has it just like we have on Earth. Uranus, 27 planets, and it has rings. It's the only other planet that I'm aware of that has rings other than Saturn. We only saw that when Viking passed through and went behind and had the sun behind it and illuminated those rings because they're like this.
Jupiter has rings.
Huh?
Jupiter has rings. You just can't see them.
Oh, wow.
They had to send a space probe out to find those.
There you go. Voila. Something wrong. What the heck? And again, Neptune with a cup. This you couldn't see surface. This you don't see surface, which is Uranus and Neptune. And again, Pluto, again our ninth planet, as far as I'm concerned, has 5 moons. Planet sizes, there's a couple of things. If allowed, if you take a note or take a picture of this particular screen, do yourself a favor. Go look at this because this website shows a video of actually us, then planets, so on and so forth. It shows them size-wise, and it's an amazing video. I didn't think about putting that up prior to. Okay, or something like deep space objects you might be interested in. Deep space objects are anything outside of our solar system as far as we are concerned. It's light years upon light years away. In this particular case, you might be interested in those deep space objects. We see them in our telescopes. Also, comets. Yes, we have had special events here at UACNJ where we have had opened up for comet viewing when they're available. And one of our lead people here, Christopher Callie, who's inside running the video equipment, has taken pictures of several of them, some phenomenal pictures. Galaxies, Whirlpool Galaxy. In this particular case, it is 30,000 light years away. Now, 30,000 light years away, please be aware that when you're looking at something 30,000 light years away, like water out of a squirt gun, it takes time to reach Earth. The picture that this was taken, I didn't take it. It was capturing the light off of that galaxy, came off of the galaxy 30,000 years ago and was captured in the person's camera. What it looks like today, come back in 30,000 years. Star clusters. This happens to be a globular star cluster. Yes, these type of star clusters, not necessarily all these detailed stars all on the outside. You will see clusters of stars all together. It's quite cool. One of my favorites is, the globular cluster of Hercules, which online, if I make a mistake, I believe this is the globular cluster of Hercules. This is our closest spiral galaxy to us. And guess what? It's 2.3 million light years away. And I believe that is one of my pictures. Now, you might ask the question, can I see that in a telescope? Yes, you could see it in the telescope, but guess what? This is a long-timed exposure. What you would be seeing is the bright core here, probably from here to about here. You'd be able to see it in a telescope. It'll be a blur because of its distance and everything else, but it'll be a blur, but you'll be able to see the core of Andromeda. Naked eye? I wear glasses. On a good, clear, moonless, cloudless sky. Here, I can point it out to people. Some people with really good eyesight can actually see that with their naked eye. Here, take my binoculars, hold them up. I take my laser, just like I'm using here on the screen. I point up in the sky. Tell me when you get to the end of my laser, because it only goes so far. Not this one, I have a much stronger one. And they go, move it away. Do you see a blur? Yes. Oh, yeah, I see it's like a little fuzzy or whatever. That's right. But in that particular case, all they're looking at is this extremely bright core. But you can see it. And it again, the light you're looking at came off of the object 2.3 million years ago. It's kind of a concept. Does everybody understand light speed? Okay. If I was to take, our sun is out. Let's make a believe that the sun is like a light bulb that's turned off. I'm going to go over, click, turn on the sun. But it's still dark here. It's still dark here. Yes, it will be approximately 8.5 minutes before boop, the light's on. It takes that long for the sunlight that I turned on magically to reach Earth. 8.5 minutes later. My favorite, absolute favorite. Does everybody see the horse's head? They got a yeses. All right, that's 1,500 light years away. This is a nebula. What I mean by a nebula is I'm so big. I have some gentlemen and people in the audience might be a little taller and bigger than I am. End results are this is where matter. I'm smaller than the gentleman that say standing in front of me. I'd be. Don't get me wrong. It's science here. I might be attracted to him. Why? Because he's got more mass. He has more gravity. Please set up your chair. And so that's where matter comes together. Gases come together. And if you look really, really close, right about in this area here on the top edge, it's kind of brighter, like behind it. Well, guess what? That's a star being born behind it. Mind you, this is a lot larger than a couple of stars. The head alone, but bigger and bigger. Once it gets about approximately 10 times, if not hundreds and thousands of times larger than our sun, the gravity eventually will just put your hands together real tight. What happens? It warms up. This same thing happens, and fusion happens. Stars are born in nebula. This is the opposite. This is the Crab Nebula. This is one of the oldest objects within the realm of astronomy, which was discovered by the Chinese in Chinese writings in 100 AD. They could see it and have notations that they could see it in the daylight. And it is 6,500 light years away. So they saw it in the sky, but that happened at that time 6,500 years before. It's a cool object. No, you can't see it naked eye. But this is what they would call a planetary nebula. The reason it's called a planetary nebula when they were originally named just that. What is that noise? Oh, the wind. Sorry if online, if you hear that, it's noise from the, okay. I apologize for everybody. But either way, getting back to it. They named it a planetary nebula because they thought it was a planet that went poof. That's all they had to relate to at that particular time. I'm talking in the 1700s, 1800s. This is actually, we're a star. That's the remnants of a supernova. This is called a planetary nebula. Again, keeping the name of what it was called many hundreds of years ago. The Orion Nebula. This is another one that happens to be where stars are born. There's hundreds of thousands of billions of these within our universe, but these are the ones we can relate to because they're close. They're within, again, in this particular case, 1,500 light years away. We're going to get into the astronomy for beginners stuff in a sec. The Witch Head Nebula. Again, this is where matter is collecting for stars. Maybe you might see something like this with something like a star right there in that nice little square. But you'll notice that square little star seems to be moving ever so slightly. You might be thinking that you're looking at a star. You're not looking at a star. Who wants to be an astronaut when they grow up? At least 4 or 5 hands up in the air. Oh, a couple of big people back there. Well, hopefully one day you'll be able to go up into outer space, because that's the Tesla that Elon Musk put into space. He put a car in space. If any of you go back in time, I mean, when you grow up or wind up going into space, if you happen to get on something, then go and chase this son of a gun down. One, you can give him a ticket. Number two, it'll be worth several billions, if not $1 trillion, if you can bring that car back to Earth. Notice he has no roof on there. There's no wind, so he doesn't have to worry much about his hair. But either way, if you go back to the previous picture here, let's try to see here. 1, 2, 3. 3 bright stars. Now let's go over here. Oops. Maybe 1, 2, 3. So it moved from here to over here. So he took up, this is off the internet. But either way, it's going through space. Maybe you might wind up meeting some of these guys when you go to outer space. Who are they? Guardians of the Galaxy, correct. Maybe the next person, you could be the next person to put a car in space, so on and so forth. But online, one of the most interesting shows, and it was quite a few years ago, was Exploring Outer Space. It's a series of shows, and it's very educational with what they are. They show some occupations related to space travel, so on and so forth. One of my other talks that I do is just that, space careers. But it was on the Fox network. It's a great show, great series, and you can learn a lot from it. Who has apps on their phone for space? Well, there's a whole bunch of hands going up all over the place. Greatest thing that ever happened, because you'd be able to, of course, use it and help you find stuff in space. If you have an Android, again, Google Sky Maps is a really good one. Stellarium is another one that you can use. Oops. Voila. It is a free mobile app. I don't know if it's still free for computers, but that is really good in the sense that, one, I'm older. I can find out what the night sky looked like over my head when I was born. I can also go and see what today or tomorrow, whatever, I might be traveling to another country. And I've used it when I've traveled around the world in Japan and Aruba, so on and so forth, and find out what's going to be up in the sky, because I know some people there. End results are there's clubs all over the world. So you can find that when you travel, you might want to try to look at that if you're that interested in, again, astronomy. Everybody take their pictures of the screen. I see a couple people with their phones up. This is a shot out of a stellarium. End results are right here is the Hercules star cluster, the one I was telling you about. That's M13. It's a great thing. You can also see, and you can put lines on it. You can see Gemini. You can see the Little Dipper. Where's the Big Dipper? Anybody see it? There you go. Big Dipper's right here. There's the handle and the Big Dipper. Oh, but what are these other stars? That's a bear. You were going to say it, right? Yeah, my big smile. End results are it's an asterism. It's part of a constellation. I have one question I'm going to take into the audience, please, real loud. That's correct. Two stars in the Big Dipper point to the North Star. End results are here's the Big Dipper, here's the two front stars on the front of the cup. Mind you, this Big Dipper, it's pouring out here. These two front stars, follow that out until you come to the first bright star boop, close to you. It's actually the end star of the Little Dipper. Ursa Major, Ursa Minor. One of the things you might want to do also is look up on Stellarium or look at the pictures that people think are the stars. They make into a crab, a scorpion, so on and so forth. Now, in this particular case, please be aware that, let me go back a half a second here. This is the Big Dipper. This is the tail of the Big Dipper. End results are, excuse me, this is the tail of the Big Dipper. That's Ursa Major. Ursa Major. Big Bear. There's no stars. There's no tails on bears, are there? No, there is no tail, not unless you're ready to put one on the back of a bear. The reason for that is that in American Indian folklore, as a brave was out hunting, a bear came at him. He went like this. He was scared, of course, of him. He grabbed the bear by the tail, went around like this, and boop, bear landed over there. He still had the tail. That's why bears don't have tails. Looking at equipment, thank you for getting for astronomy for beginners. But either way, binoculars, a great, great, great starting piece of equipment. Has anybody used binoculars to look at the stars? Oh my, a whole bunch of people here. End results are, as you can see, a lot of stuff if you know where to look. A lot of stuff. Orion Nebula, Andromeda, even the planets. You won't see them as much detail as you would through a telescope, but you get a good idea. And with your apps on the phone, Stellarium, which is available on the phone, or you can put it into the into your mobile phone and computers. Hold on a second. I got another question from somebody who was really smart before. Real loud. What was that? That's right. Once you set up a decent telescope, I'll get into that a little bit later, but once you have a decent telescope, my telescope, which is set up in one of these sheds here, I all have to do is one, turn it on. I know it's properly aligned. It knows what time it is. It knows where it is on Earth, what day it is. End results are, if it's proper like that, all I got to do is go like this. It'll skew over to it. That's a computerized telescope. End results are is that, yeah, you can find a lot of stuff with a good telescope. But it's nice to start out finding all that stuff, as I did 18, 20 years ago. Binoculars are good because they're portable. You can take them anywhere. You can put them in your luggage. You have to, of course, go through, it has to get put in the back of the plane. End results are bring them anywhere you want, or if you're traveling with via plane. But it's a great starting. It's one. It's portable, it's light, and it can be extremely entertaining. Don't get something this small. These are not going to work for you. But also, please be aware that, that's very portable. That one isn't. I don't know what that had to be. And mind you, this is way before, AI and all this kind of stuff, this picture. But I don't know if that's a real picture. I'm going to find out. Either way. But you can find a good pair of telescopes at a garage sale. I bought my first ones for like $10. This is very, very old. My presentation, I apologize. $40. Yeah, at that time you could get it for $40. But you can find really decent piece of equipment at a garage sale, or maybe you can get to go talk to your grandma, grandpa, whoever might have a pair of binoculars they're never using. Hey, grab them, take a peek through them. Andromeda. In this particular case, as I have already described, Andromeda is right here. It doesn't look like the picture we saw earlier, but that's Andromeda. That was taken by, it's down on a Patrick Coulis. Coulis. God knows where, but whatever. And probably is this particular shot was maybe a 1 second shot. Okay, but again, 1 second. When you see something in the sky, you're not getting 1 second shot. You're getting an instantaneous click. That's all you're going to see. Just like if you click your camera. But if you put it up in the sky, you can get nice pictures like we saw earlier with the planets and other objects that we talked about. Andromeda, as I already said, from one end of here to here, this was Andromeda. That picture that you saw was probably just this area right here. End results is that hundreds of billions of stars could be in this galaxy. Please be aware that Andromeda will be colliding with our solar system, the Milky Way, in about 4 to 5 billion years. So if anybody sees it, man, find me. I'll be someplace in the ground, but whatever. But don't worry about it. Real loud, one question. Real loud, scream it at me. Let me know when you go through a wormhole.
So the question was, what would happen if you went through a wormhole? We don't know. We don't have the technology to find out. But we will have a question and answer session after the presentation. So I do ask that we just hold that for then, where you can use the mic and our half-deaf speaker can then also hear you.
There you go. All right. Some of the equipment that you might be considering, and again, like I said, by going to our various telescopes on a good night, you'd be able to see what those telescopes are able to produce and to give you views of. One of my first telescopes was a Newtonian reflecting telescope. Again, the light comes in from the telescope right in this here, bounces off the mirror here, comes up, hits a secondary mirror, and out to your eye. I'm not showing the eyepiece, it's on the opposite side of this telescope. Another one, which is my telescope that I currently have here, is called the Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope, which is this design. Light comes in, bounces off a curved mirror here, up to a secondary mirror here, down to what we call a diagonal, and out to your eye. So it really, a long distance for that to travel. In the telescope, off the mirror, back at the day, up, and so on and so forth to your eye. I'll talk about that maybe later on, or if you have any questions about that. The other one is a refractor. A refractor, you're looking through lenses, just like a pilot would look through lenses. Okay? The other one is a reflector. The Newtonian is a reflector. The Schmidt-Cassegrain, or SCT, is a reflector. Just keeping those designs in mind. The other thing to consider when you purchasing a telescope, and again, you can purchase telescopes inexpensively online. I mean, one of the best places that I found was a site called astromart.com. This is people like myself or other people that have telescope equipment and they sell them online. End results are is you can get a decent deal instead of spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a telescope that you may want and may not want. But they're always in good condition because we don't play football or try to use them as baseball bats. So they're in decent shape. 99%. I noticed I left that half of that 1% out. The Schmidt-Cassegrain, and again, going back here, mounts. Mounts are just as important. This is a very inexpensive telescope. You'll notice it has thin legs. It has got nice braces on a regular refractor. They're inexpensive telescopes, and they're great. They're great if you know where to point them. And also, it's not windy, and you don't go up and bump it. Because just like your binoculars, you move them, you can't get your eyes focused. The other one here, which is a little bit more complex than point and shoot, this one has adjusting knobs where you can actually follow the moon as it goes across the sky every 10 minutes or so. Then you get into computerized, as I was mentioning before, mounts, where you can actually, once it's properly set up, and it takes time to learn. Took me about a good month to learn how to use my first computerized telescope. And once you have it set up, I want to look at planets, Jupiter. It'll go right to it. You don't have to get a big telescope like this guy's got behind him. Believe it or not, this telescope right here, which is about 15 feet long, actually comes apart and it fit in the back of a decent sized SUV, like a Suburban. He put it together on site. This was at a campsite. There is a campsite that is well known in our immediate area for good views. Good views of our night sky, and that's in Cherry Springs State Park in Pennsylvania. It's approximately 4 hours away from here, and it is a campsite. I've gone camping here. They don't have telescopes in here. That's not a trailer. So astronomy is a hobby for 8 to 80. Guys, look at me here. I only started like 20 years ago. I'm 72. So end results are I learned it. You guys can learn it. Don't be challenged by its complexity or maybe involvement. It's really easy. And once you're there, just like any other hobby, it's infectious. No, really, it's a cool, cool hobby. You can see me here sitting by one of my telescopes many years ago out in the snow. We take a lot of our pictures here in the snow. Why we have it here is you're in one of the darkest spots in the state of New Jersey, and very well known for that. How many people here live outside of New Jersey? One, two, okay. Who in New Jersey? Everybody almost. Who lives in cities? A couple of people. How's the view in the city? Not so good. No, no, no. When you get into a darker spot, you can get more light and therefore see more objects with the naked eye. But again, look at this poor slob. Well, the problem with this picture is I'm calling him a poor slob. Is one of our better amateur astronomers. This guy, notice, that's not a computerized telescope. That's a push to. You want to see M101? Here you go. Take a peek. He pushes. He knows the sky, and you can be that way too. Once you learn a little bit more about the night sky, greatest guy in the world. But this poor slob had another poor slob sitting right here by this telescope. Ooh, that was me. I took the picture. Of course, there's very good views in our warmer weather. Please notice, group of people here, nice that we set up over here on the side of our building. There's a nice lawn area, and people bring their own telescopes. So actually, bring your telescope if you want to learn more about it. If we have time, don't get me wrong, on a good clear night, no moon, no clouds, one, you'll see a whole lot, but you might want help with running your telescope or setting it up. We'll try our best to help you, but in the most cases, we're entertaining a line of 25, 30 people outside. Also, on a good clear night, moonless, here at UACNJ, there's no question about it. Between 8 and 120 people show up. Here we are in lower 60s, mid 50 weather, clouds, no moon, and I'm looking at right now, I would say about 45, maybe even 50 people. Notice here, these people are looking up. They're looking up over here. No, they're not looking at this here, but they're looking up in the sky. Why? Satellites. In that particular picture I took, they were all looking at the International Space Station flying over. We see it all the time here. This is where you are. You're sitting about right in this area here. We do have, as already mentioned, a gift shop and a, what do we got as far as time?
Until you just
Oh,
over
okay,
from
until
exhaustion.
yeah, okay, fine.
Like,
Okay,
it's 8:46. If that was the question.
that's fine. I really appreciate it. So, either way, you're here. One of the things when you come, if you do come again, hopefully it's a little light outside. Do yourself a great favor. You're in what park? Jenny Jump State Park. Be aware. This is the Jenny Jump Rock. This goes down quite a distance. We like to say that that's the rock that she jumped off of. Now, mind you, in colonial times, they, if you know the story, if I get it wrong, shoot me. But either way, in colonial times, a group of colonials down in the valley came into the woods to actually look for food. You know, fruit, vegetation, edible, so on. And the couples, split off into various directions to do their gathering. A couple was separated. They heard rustling in the woods. They turned around and they saw American Indians coming out at them. One of them shot an arrow, hit the man. He fell down. The lady kept on running. The braves were chasing her. Rather than being captured, Jenny jumped off the rock. They never found her body. So, in the dark here, you might see something moving. End results are, it might be Jenny. Just say, hey, hey, okay, got a couple people doing that. That's good. There's a lot of stuff to see in space here in New Jersey. I'd like to thank you all for allowing me to speak with you. I'm ready for your questions, and Miss Kim here will help you out with a microphone. And I apologize, I'm hard of hearing.
I wasn't joking about him being half deaf. That kind of is a thing. All right. So, thank you all. Thank you, Ken, for another great presentation.
Hi, everybody. Online.
So before we get into question and answers, since I saw a number of you sneak in after the safety briefing, and I have deemed that to be inescapable, we're going to go over that real quick. If you need to use the restroom, that is the porta potty in the back. It is big, it is blue. You can't see blue in the dark, but luckily it's illuminated by red light, so you can find it easily. We also have a little museum and gift shop area you can check out. We do have, someone has a telescope open, despite the cloud cover. So feel free to go ask them questions. Maybe we can get a brief break in the cloud cover, but do feel free to ask them questions and see what they can see.
I'll lose my laser and I'll try to burn off some of the clouds. It ain't working.
That's a little too low powered.
Yeah, that's right.
When we go to leave, people who are driving, please use your headlights. We don't need to be accidentally running people over. Uh,
It makes a mess, and heck,
the
what-
paperwork's just a bit too much
yeah, really.
to deal with. Uh, you've laughed, but I don't think you've had to deal with the paperwork for running someone over before. Uh, it's not fun. Um, any flashlights we may need to use to wander around, because it is dark, it is a state park, do keep those pointed towards the ground because we don't need to accidentally blind people. So, how question and answer is going to work for the people out here. When I call for a question, people who have questions, you're going to raise your hand. Hopefully, not have your mobile device fly off into the space. And you're going to kind of wave it about and keep your hand raised. I'm night blind since I've been looking at devices. So as soon as your hand goes down, you just become another figure in the dark. Very spooky. Online chat, you have it easy. You just get to type. So the first question in online chat that I saw was, what is the temp tonight? And depending on what device we checked, was either 55 or 68. So somewhere between there. So I did see a hand up a minute ago out here. There we go. Hold on.
So, towards the beginning of presentation, we saw the picture of Jupiter, and it was said that Jupiter's moon Io was casting a shadow on its surface. Would that be considered a solar eclipse on Jupiter?
No, it'd be a lunar eclipse on Jupiter, just like a lunar eclipse on Earth in that particular area. Correct.
So are you talking about if you were on Jupiter and happened to be standing directly in the shadow? So it would be an eclipse. What the amount of coverage you would see, I don't happen to know.
It would be a solar.
Yeah, it would be a solar because you're in
That's
the
right.
shadow of the moon. But when you're away from, when you're not on Jupiter and you're watching a small object go across the face of a much larger object, that is called a transit. When you have the small object go behind, or I guess the large object go in front of the smaller object, that is called an occultation. And then there are other things that I don't remember currently. I will remember that sometime, but today is not that day, apparently.
Okay, there you go.
Right, and I see another question out here.
Does Pluto have an atmosphere, or is it just like the moon where like you can't actually go inside it?
Does Jupiter have an
Does
atmosphere?
Pluto have
Pluto,
an atmosphere?
I can't answer it. I will tell. I should have explained when and if a question is asked of me, and I do give you an answer, but there's a hesitation on my part, and if I do give you an answer, there's a 50-50 shot I'll lie to you. No, I'm just going to get that out of the way now. I don't know that. I do not believe there is an atmosphere on Jupiter. I'll be corrected by
Pluto.
somebody online.
There's probably not an atmosphere on Pluto. That being
I knew
said,
that.
we haven't had scientific equipment really go where they can test that theory yet. But considering the other rocky planets we have that we have gone to do not have atmospheres, that kind of leads us to an educated guess.
Yeah, like it was already discovered, of course, the moon does not have an atmosphere. Mars does have a slight atmosphere.
Does it now?
Yes, Mars does. Has a slight atmosphere. It's damn cold, but yeah.
All right. So our next online question, now that I found it again, is what sort of telescope does one need to see the entirety of Andromeda clearly?
Again, seeing Andromeda clearly, you just said seeing, you're never going to. I have a Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope, 8-inch mirror. You do not see all of Andromeda. So if the question is all of Andromeda, you're never going to see it with your naked eye. It has to be a long time exposed picture that is taken.
All right. I'm going to do you first and then you.
Which planet has the strongest atmosphere?
Which planet has the strongest atmosphere?
Strongest, I don't know exactly what you're looking for, but as far as strong, let's make it this way. The storms on Jupiter, the red spot, okay, has a very thick atmosphere. How strong it is, don't know. We have never put any kind of thing on there, the equipment, to actually measure it. Same with Venus, same with Mars. We have rovers that have some atmosphere. Uranus, Neptune, we don't know. The strong, I don't know what, is that strong winds?
Strong ability to survive.
Yeah, it's going to mess
So
up
it really depends on what you're looking for.
what strong means.
So how the terminal velocity? You are
Oh,
referring to the terminal velocity of how
well, let's take it this way. They
which planet would you
estimate.
plummet to your death quickest?
What was that?
If we're talking about terminal velocity, it's which planet would you plummet to your death the quickest?
Jupiter.
So,
Because the storm, they estimated at over 200 miles an hour in the red spot.
all right.
And that's a guess on my part too.
Was it you? Okay.
How many galaxies are in the linear K supercluster?
How many galaxies are?
What super? I'm not getting the name. We don't know what name you just said. I heard supercluster.
How many galaxies are in the linear K supercluster?
The Linea K supercluster. How many galaxies are in it? That one, I think you're gonna have to look up on an educational website because
Ask the internet. Hey, you guys answer the question. Give me a
online
hint.
people help.
There you go. There's
Uh,
galaxies all
YouTube
over.
shorts are ca- but check. I would suggest checking sites like NASA, your local colleges, if they have um astronomy programs, would be great places to ask those questions. And was it you?
What is the radius of Jupiter's red spot?
What is the radius of Jupiter's red spot?
As far as I know, I think like 10 Earths can fit within the red spot on Jupiter.
Yeah, the red spot is also getting smaller gradually, so that may have changed last time we looked.
Mm-mm.
But and
I don't know.
were there any more online people? If you have any questions, do get those in. I'd like to give you guys a heads up beforehand. Yes, we are live streaming this to both YouTube and Twitch. So if you do have questions, people, do get those in. I do like to give you a heads up because stream delay is a thing. Were there any more questions out here? All right, all the way in the back. Hold on.
What's our moon called?
What is our moon called? I
What
think
is
it's
our
called
moon?
the moon.
How do you call the moon? Oh, oh.
But our moon has been called many things depending on different cultures. Uh, there's been Luna. There's been I forget, but there's the moon. Uh, I'm sure there is a scientific designation as to what that is. Again, I don't know. Do you know, Ken?
No. And I'm not even going to hesitate. No. I do not know.
All right. And the last online question that I see is, can an amateur telescope see individual stars in Andromeda without long exposure, or is it always going to just look like a fuzzy disk looking at it?
It's going to look like a fuzzy disk, except on the extreme edges. End results are is that it being 2.3 million light years away, it's kind of tough. What you might think is a single star is a group, could be a group of stars or a solar system within Andromeda. I don't know that.
There's probably a number of solar systems within Andromeda.
Oh, yeah, there's quite a few.
All right. So it looks like that's it for the questions for now. Ken's going to be here for a little bit. So after I wrap this up, you can always pester him with more questions or see if you can try and stump one of our other volunteers with questions. That's always a fun game I like to play. So thank you, Ken.
Thank you very much,
For
guys.
another presentation. Thank you guys for joining us here. Thank you, online chat. Until next time, clearer skies and good seeing.